Okay. Under measurement, please understand that while I love this great country we live in, the best one on earth, for the life of me, I could never understand why we've never changed our ways we do in measuring things. We are stuck in our old, what we call the customary system. Sometimes it's called standard, I don't know. It's the way they used to do it back in Britain 250 years ago or whatever, I don't know why. And the way that most of the world, the people who are smart enough to know better, use, it's called the metric system. And the simple reason why the metric system is so much easier than our system is because the metric system is based completely on tens. And if you know anything about math, it's so much easier to multiply, add, subtract, whatever by tens than it is to do by what we do in the customary standards. In our standard form, we have to work a lot with fractions, and fractions are not. They're hard to understand and they're hard to work with, but that's what we're stuck with. Okay, the metric system by far a lot easier, just the way it is. And the basic measurement in the metric system is the meter. Okay, is the meter. But your little rulers there, well, I suppose we should write this down here. And I'll grab a meter stick so you can see. Your standard.
There's one up there.
Yeah, I want the plastic one. This one? Yeah. This is a meter stick right here because it is a meter. We like to call it equivalent to our yard. If you take a meter and you divide it up 100 ways, we get really what we use a lot, and that's a centimeter. 1 centimeter equals 1 meter. Okay? And a centimeter is about the width of your pinky. So a little gauge there. And then you can split the centimeter even farther down into millimeters. There are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. So if you were doing the math, guess how many millimeters make up this meter? If you're good at math there, Charlie, you say there are?
10,000.
Not quite. There's only 1,000. 1,000 millimeters equal 1 meter. Okay? 1,000. And here is the nice thing about the metric system. You are going to take a look at your little rulers there. And I suppose I should, here's where it gets a little confusing, I guess. That one gets a lot more confusing. Your little rulers look like this. One side is the inside, one side is the, it says cm on that side. So you've got the cm here, and then there's a 1, and then there's 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I guess, sorry, I was doing inches. We actually have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, on my thing here, I'm going to blow this up a little. Just so we can get it back to kind of big size here. And we will put, okay, here is 1 centimeter. And there are 10 little marks up here. These are each a millimeter. So for every centimeter, that's 10 millimeters. Okay? Now here is the beauty. Here is the beauty of the metric system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on and so on and so on. So if I had a line, children, if I had a line that went all the way to, let's say, well, let's say right here. And I asked you how many how many millimeters is this? How many millimeters? Okay. Now notice the numbers are not millimeters. The numbers are centimeters. But it's all based in 10. So it's very easy to get to the millimeters because this is 10 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So you can get to 90 right away and then count how many more millimeters that is, which looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4 millimeters. Okay, it is 94 millimeters. Just because it's that easy to multiply by 10, you get your 10s and you count all that. You don't have to count each little thing because it takes you a long time to count each little dash up to 94. Now, here is the beauty of this. If I asked you how many centimeters this is. Now, I need you to look up here right away because I remember last year's class getting this wrong all the time. Never, never, never. How many times did I say that?
3.
All right, let me go 2 more times. Never, never. Never, never. Wait, how many times am I at now? 7. Never. Never.
9.
Never
10.
will you use fractions with the metric system. That's an exclamation point. Never, 11, will you use fractions with the metric system. Okay? You will always use decimals. Okay? If I asked you how many centimeters this is, I'm guessing most of you could tell me it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 9 whole centimeters. But what about the rest of it that goes past 9? What do I do? Now, if you were using fractions, children, you would tell me that is how many what's away?
10.
This is in tenths, and how many tenths away was it?
4.
4. So if you were allowed to use fractions, which you're not, you would tell me that is 9 4/10. But you're not allowed to do that. But the beauty of this is 9 4/10 is this. See the same digits? You'll have the same digits in the millimeters as you do in the centimeters. It's just that there will be a decimal between the two for centimeters. It is 9 and just like that place after the decimal is 10 cents. Well, that's 1/10 of a dollar. This is 1/10 of a centimeter, 9.4. So if you have measured and found one, you automatically know the other one because you either put the decimal there or you move the decimal out. For example, if I said to change 8.8 centimeters to millimeters, okay, all the work is done for you. You just got to figure out what do I do with that decimal. 8.8 centimeters, by the way, would be right about here. That's close to 8.8. What would that be in millimeters? Elijah? 88. You just take the decimal away. If you're given centimeters, you take the decimal away to get millimeters. If you're given millimeters, you put the decimal in to get centimeters. Okay? If something was 75 millimeters, and I asked you to change that into centimeters, there's that phone call I never wanted. How many times will it ring? It's twice. Okay, 75 millimeters then. Jaden is how many centimeters?
7.5.
Exactly, 7.5. Do you see how easy it is to change from one to the other? Now, have you ever worked with our standard form? And if I asked you 55 inches is how many feet? You know what you have to do to change inches into feet? Divide by what? 12. You know what 74 divided by 12 is?
No.
Neither do I. I mean, it's some number, but it's some fraction after it. You will never come up with fractions. It's just a matter of the metric system is always all you need. Once you know the numbers, you just move the decimal to go from one measurement to another measurement. It's just the gap. And I don't know why, I mean, people did this back in the early 1900s, they switched, and now we are a little stubborn as a people, but that's the way it is. How about this, you write this down for me, let me blow this up one more time. Let's say I've got, let me erase the line that I've got. And put a new line in there. What if I have this line right? Oh, I don't know. That's a little wide for my liking. And then I'm gonna have to put some hash marks in there. Let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's say it stops right there. Before it gets to the 5. Didn't quite make it to 5 whole centimeters. Just barely short of 5 centimeters. And I asked you how many centimeters it was. Lance?
4.9.
Exactly. 4.9 centimeters. Which would be how many millimeters, Maddie?
49.
49. So yeah, you are now expert kind of measurers in your world there. Do me a favor, open up to page 278. We're not ready for, don't put away your notes because we're not close to being done, but I do want to give you a little chance to measure some lines. I want you to measure to the nearest, measure each segment. Letter A says to measure in centimeters and in millimeters. So I want you to measure A and tell me what you get. Make sure when you measure with your ruler, don't start right at the end here, but you have to measure starting on the first black notch, because you'll be off by a little bit, because there's a little bit that overhangs. For letter A on page 278, how many millimeters, how many centimeters is that? And I think they're nice too, because they use kind of round numbers. And your ruler, these rulers may not be, I would not use this as my official ruler for when you go to high school and have to measure exactly, because this has been photocopied, cut, laminated, but it's close enough for what we're going to use it for. How many centimeters, how many millimeters? Kara?
3 centimeters and 30 millimeters.
That's exactly what I have. Letter B. So we must be close. Lainey?
6 centimeters and 60 millimeters.
66, 6 and 60. And then letter C. Isabel?
10 centimeters and 100 millimeters.
I actually get 90. Are you 1 centimeter too big? Oh, now just for fun, measure line P. Measure line P. I don't have the answer to that way down in the bottom.
Oh,
Let me see what it is first before I ask you.
wait, it's inch ruler.
No, I know, that's what I want you to see what you get, because I thought those were too easy. I wanted to get a little harder for you. Centimeters, millimeters there. Centimeters, millimeters there. Emily?
82 centimeters.
That'd be 82 millimeters.
82 millimeters and 8 centimeters.
8.2. Make sure you get that point to it. Yeah, that's good. All right, now to the hard stuff. Just go back to your notes. And we are going to talk about the customary system. You could boo that, but don't, because we are good Americans. The customary system is based on inches. Well, I don't know, whichever one you call, but 1 inch is about, I don't know where they came up with it, it's not very big. I don't think I like that color there. I always say it's about, when you get to a big hand there, if you look at the knuckles, the 2 knuckles between your first, whatever middle knuckles on your pinky, that's about 1 inch long right there. See, and the problem was with our inch, here, I'm gonna draw that same ruler. Try to do it like this, cut it into inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. And blow that up. Blow that up. Oh boy. The problem with our system of measurement here is this. That when the inch wasn't small enough, some guy said, well, the natural thing to do is cut it in half. So they did. So they took an inch and cut it in half, and that's 1/2 of an inch. So now we've got 1 inch, 2 inch, and all the halves in between. 4, 5, 6, and then all the halves in between. Okay. And then when the halves weren't good enough, guess what they did? They took the halves in half, and if you cut a half in half, you get 1/4. So now we cut our line in 1/4. Okay. But where it runs into trouble with this, kids, well, I won't talk about trouble just yet. I'll let you experience the trouble yourself. I think this is all, that might be the only, I don't think do they go smaller than that? Oh yeah, then they do one more smaller than 1/4, which is, we gotta get smaller here. If you cut a 1/4 in half, you end up with, any idea what, oh, how'd they go to a different screen? You like that one? Yeah, when you cut a 1/4 in half, you end up with the 1/8. Which I don't even know if I can draw. You probably didn't leave yourself enough room. So anyways, I'm gonna explode an inch here and just do it like this. Here's my inch, and here's 1 inch or 0 inches, 1 inches. Here's my 1/2 inch mark, and here's my 1/4 inch mark. Here's my 1/8 inch mark. Here's my 3/8 inch mark. My 5/8 inch mark, my 3/4 inch mark, my 7/8 inch mark, and then there's my 4 inch mark there. Okay, the problem with our system is this, okay, is that you have to know about reducing fractions because each one of these is 1/8 of an inch. So if I had this line drawn right here, and you tried just counting how many 8ths over it is, well, it's 1/8, it's 2/8, it's 3/8, it's 4/8. But I'd have to tell you you're wrong, even though you're right, because 4/8 is the right fraction, it just needs to be down in its smallest form, which is 1/2. Okay, and that's why that's why this is kind of goofy, because you have to always use the reduced fraction for it, which we haven't got to yet, and you have to figure that out. 5/8 is here. 3/4 is the same as how many 8ths? 5/8 plus another 1/8 is 6/8, but you can't, oh no. But you can't use 6/8, I'm turning that off. I usually turn it off, but Sam Poppy was going to answer.
Who is it?
No. They're always junk calls.
What's the IRS?
Old people help.
IRS?
I'm sorry, Obama that he pays taxes.
Okay, so on your rulers, when we measure, first of all, you got to make sure you're using the right part of the ruler. Okay. Secondly, you'll see your rulers actually have one more line on them, and those are the 16th inch marks, which we're not going to use for a little bit. So you have to skip everyone and kind of ignore it to try to figure out how long the line is. So let's just do this because it's hard for me to show it on here. Look at letter P. Look at letter P and put your ruler on there and tell me what you think, how many inches letter P is. And I will try to draw my ruler to show you kind of the same thing where yours is at there. Just give me a second though. What do you suppose that one is, Grace?
3 1/4.
Alright, very good, it is 3 1/4. Now, how did you know that, Grace? How did you know that's the 1/4 inch mark? I just wanna know how you figured it out.
Because the 1/4 is smaller than the 1/8.
Very good, yeah, they do make them different sizes so you can look at them relatively quickly. How about letter Q? Letter Q in inches. Letter Q in inches. Ben, 2.5 is what I have as well. And the letter R in inches. Paige?
1 and 5/5, 5/8.
1 5/8 is correct. So you see that. How about letter J? Looking on top there, you don't have to measure it, there's already a ruler there. How do you know what that's pointing to? What are your clues and what are your things there? Laney?
Yes, the 1, there's no phone, there's no phone number.
Wait, what fraction did you say it was?
Oh,
1/2. How do you know that?
it's in the middle.
Okay, first of all, it's dead center in the middle. That's a good idea. What about counting the notches? You've got each notch is 1/8, right? So you've got 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, and 4/8. How do I know that 4/8 is 1/2? Because if you ate 4/8 of a pizza, you ate 1/2 of a pizza. How about letter L? Letter L. Anybody taking a shot at letter L? Elijah says
1 7/8.
1 7/8 is good. Letter M. I'm guessing you guys measured a little bit with Mrs. Lutz last year. Isabel?
2 and 3/8.
I have 2 3/8, I think. If I'm on the right one. Is that letter M?
Yeah.
Yep. Letter N. Charlie?
3 1/8.
3 1/8. Letter O. Luke?
3 and 6/8. 6/8.
Well, there, and then Luke, you're the case point there. We can't use 6/8. 6/8 has to be changed to what? 6/8 is the same measurement. You're right, kind of, but we won't ever use it when you measure 6/8 because 6/8 is the same as, if you ate 6/8 of a pizza, you ate what fraction that's easier to understand than 6/8? Isabel?
3/4.
3/4. And that's why our system is a little tough because you have to be able to figure out all that goofy stuff.